What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'll be your host and producer this afternoon, Logan Landers, and today I am writing solo, and today we're not talking about football. We're not talking about baseball. You see I've got the Atlanta Braves hat here, got the shirt here, but no, we are talking, of course, about the sport that is on the court. We're talking about the 2025 men's NCAA Final Four preview. That is coming up on Saturday. Of course, we have four teams going at it. The first matchup is going to be at 6:09 on CBS, featuring two SEC schools. We'll talk about that game first here in just a minute. That's going to be the number one ranked Florida Gators battling the number one ranked Auburn Tigers, and there's going to be a theme there because in the second matchup, this one's going to be 8:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course. Also going to be on CBS. That's going to have the number one ranked Houston Cougars battling the number one ranked Duke Blue Devils. So all four teams currently number one seed, something that has not been done in over 15 years in the March Madness bracket. So a lot of high-powered teams here, great coaches, and we're going to see after this weekend who is going to the championship game. But before we get into all of the previews and my predictions, who I think is going to win these ball games this upcoming weekend. Guys, we know that, it's March Madness. It's been a great time watching all the big games and key players come up clutch. And guys, we want to help you out because we're here for My Bookie's Bet and Get campaign. It's here. It's been sweetening the deal. It's been helping you out all March Madness throughout the round of 64 to 32 to Sweet 16, Elite 8, and now, of course, the Final Four. You can still place a cash bet on all these games here, these Final Four games we have, and you can get a surprise reward, whether that's going to be either cash back or free bets, maybe even some bonus chips. And if you sign up now, you can help us out and use our promo code. It's going to be MM50, like you see here on the screen. Once again, MM50. You can help us out. And you can also boost your bankroll with a deposit bonus. And you can also bet on any of these games, whether it's basketball or baseball or hockey or any sport you're into, anytime from anywhere. And that's, of course, thanks to the help of the guys and the great people over at MyBookie. So let's get into these matchups. First up, we're going to go to the SEC. First game on the dock here. It's going to be the overall ranked number one team, Florida Gators, taking on the number one ranked Auburn Tigers. Now, overall, Florida is 34-4 on the season, and Auburn is 32-5. And this is going to guarantee, of course, one SEC school will be in the championship game. We know that coming into this bracket that the SEC had the highest chance. They had the most teams in their conference going into the tournament, and now it's going to be settled that one of their teams will be represented when it's all said and done. So looking at these two schools, Auburn, they're 16-4 against SEC opponents on the year. Meanwhile, the Gators just slightly better at 17-4. Florida, they're sixth in the SEC with shooting percentage from the three-point arc at 35%. They have some great shooters out there. Meanwhile, for Auburn, they are tremendous with rebounding, 34.5 per game. That's sixth in that conference. Johnny Broome, as we know, leads the team with rebounds with just shy of 11. When you look at points per game for these teams, Auburn, they average just over 83, which is more than Florida, who only gets around 69 to 70. So with the offensive advantage, you have to give that, I believe, to the Tigers. Now, when you look at these two teams, they did play earlier in the season. This is actually going to be their second matchup, and Florida won that first game. That was back in February, and I don't know if any of those teams thought that they would be here in early April playing for the Final Four, but here they are once again. That game, Walter Clayton Jr. had a phenomenal performance, had 19 points. Miles Kelly also did some good work for Auburn, scoring 22. I mentioned Johnny Broome earlier, and of course, that is your main target there. That's a great talent. Averages 18.7 points per game, 10.9 rebounds, and also 2.1 blocks. He can just get it done regardless if you need him to do some offense, some defense. He is your guy there for Auburn. And for the Gators, you have, as I mentioned, Walter Clayton Jr. He's got 18.1 points, 4.1 assists as well. Another great player for Florida to watch out for is Elijah Martin. He averages just under 14 points in his last 10 games. He's getting hot at the right time. Meanwhile, for Auburn, another player you should watch out for is Tahad Pettiford. He's averaging close to 14 points again over the last 10 games. So you have your star players, but you also have the guys who are getting it done when it matters most in recency. So you have two really solid teams that are going at it. For Florida, they averaged 90 points, as I mentioned there, per game. So in these last 10 games, rather. So they have been looking great. So I like, this is a tough matchup here. And I know a lot of people have picked Auburn to even win it all. But for me, I'm going to go with Florida because in the last matchup, they got the win. I think that can carry over. They're going to have that confidence against Auburn once again and say, we beat you once, we can beat you again. This time, the stakes are definitely a lot higher. So for me, I'm going to go with the Florida Gators getting the win in that first Final Four matchup. Now, we're going to move on to our second matchup in the Final Four. It's going to be the Houston Cougars taking on the Duke Blue Devils. Houston, number one in the country, taking on, of course, number one Duke. So looking at these two teams, Houston has a record of 34-4. Duke, a little bit better at 35-3. Of course, Houston out there in the Big 12. Duke is in the ACCs, we all well and know. Duke against ACC opponents, they've wiped the floor with them pretty much, 22-1, 13-2 in non-conference play. Well, with Cougars, they did very well against the Big 12 as well, 22-1 overall on the year. Also, Houston sixth in the Big 12 with 33 rebounds per game. That's going to be, of course, led by Juwan Roberts, getting just over 6 in that department. Now, we look at points per game. Duke, they scored just over 83 points per game, which is 25 points more than what Houston does. What Houston gives up, which is 58.3. So you have a tough Cougars defense, and you have a phenomenal Duke offense. Of course, that's going to be led by, as we just heard a little bit earlier today, the freshman of the year, the player of the year, Cooper Flagg, a guy who, as we know, he's been hyped up, and you've seen the highlight packages, you've seen just the tremendous grit and play for this young man. He's averaging just shy of 19 points per ball game, 7.5 rebounds, and 4.2 assists. Another great player that Duke has been getting some really good play for as of late is going to be Con Kneppel. He's getting 17 points in his last 10 ball games. So you got to have those guys who are getting hot at the right time. Now, when we look over for the Cougars, LJ Cryer, he's going to be your leading man in terms of points per game. That's going to be 15, just over that for him for the year on the Cougars. And Emmanuel Sharp, he's looking good. He's just getting a 15 as well over his last 10 ball games. Now, for me, I'm going to go with the Duke Blue Devils picking up the win in this one. Duke has just looked really good this year. It seems like, when you look at their performances on the season and in the tournament, that they have just really just looked great. I mean, they beat every team decisively. There wasn't really a super close performance. They beat Arizona, and that was their tightest game in March Madness. That was a high-scoring game. Let's not forget that one, 100-93, like an NBA game. But they beat the teams they should beat. They are here for a reason. And so I will go with the Blue Devils getting the win in this ball game. I think the Cougars, though, they have a really solid defense, right? They've looked really good in this tournament. Obviously, making it this far, you've done something right. But I think just, it's going to be the age-old question of, can a high-powered offense defeat a very good lockdown defense? And it's going to come to fruition here, of course, on Saturday night. We'll see how all of these games play out and who we're going to get in the championship game. So I'm going to go with Duke representing on one side of the bracket, and I'm going to go with the Florida Gators representing on the other side. So those are my predictions at who I will think is going to represent for the 2025 Men's NCAA National Championship. But I want to hear from you, our fans. Who do you think will win? I see we've already got some comments here. We've got Les Kruger saying go Gators. And, of course, our guy Wade Turner also going with the Gators as well. So we've got 2 Florida votes in here. If you guys think that Florida will get the win, or if you think that Auburn will get the win, or Houston or Duke, please drop us in the comments on Facebook or on YouTube. We go live each and every single week. Of course, we do football coverage primarily, but it is the off season, so we are going to be doing some other sports as well, talking some basketball, some baseball as well here on the channel, as we always do. Of course, we have tremendous interviews, history specials, draft prospects. We know that's coming up here in a couple of weeks. So if you want to get tuned in for the draft, go check out all of our videos over on Facebook and YouTube, as I mentioned, because we have literally over 100 of them. So there's always something you can watch. So guys, that's my thoughts here on the Final Four coming up. I want to hear yours in our comments, Facebook and YouTube. Also go and download our podcast, which is available each and every single week, just audio versions of the shows that you can watch every week as well. So I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Thank you all for watching here today or listening. And until next time, we'll see you all again on another